Marv Won deserves to be in everyone's Mount Rushmore conversation, and it's time we start putting some respect on his name. Marv is one of the few pioneers of battle rap, and he's been relevant across eras, and he's contributed in ways that should place him in the conversation at the very least. Sadly, I don't see him often mentioned, and over the next few minutes I hope to shed some light as to why he deserves to be. Firstly, it's important to remember what Mount Rushmore actually is. It's for the builders of the community, the guys who laid the foundation for others to build on. For this reason, as much as I love some of the top guys today like Rum Nitty or Geechee Gotti or New Jersey Twerk, they're a few years away from even entering the conversation. Right now, putting someone like Nitty on a Mount Rushmore list is kind of like putting Bill Clinton on Mount Rushmore. It just kind of doesn't make sense, in my opinion. Marv's been battling since the early 2000s. Most famously, he battled Eminem on the bonus content of 8 Mile. But what many of you might not know is that wasn't his only battle on DVD. Because he battled Nems, someone you guys might know from his social media presence today, on a DVD called Who Wanna Battle, hosted by Bizarre and Proof of D12. And I'm old enough to remember that this is one of the first battles that was actually on the internet streaming. This was not on YouTube, but it was on a website called video.google.com, which doesn't exist anymore. Back then it was a lot of files. I remember downloading a lot of shit on LimeWire. Pre-YouTube era, YouTube did exist at the time, but it was very, very new. The battle with Nems eventually made its way onto YouTube, but I remember first seeing it on video.google, which is a website that, probably a lot of you don't even know existed. Now, that DVD was released 2006, but he had some battles even before then. This was an era when most battles happened locally and a lot of times weren't even on camera. But Marv has a few from that era that you can still check out today. In the World Rap Championships, him and Quest McCody formed one of the best teams. They reached the semifinals and possibly stole a tape along the way.
You bitches are softer than Suzy cubes. Don't you get it? We made jump off disappear. Fuck you think we gon' do to you?
I've always thought it was but that's just part of the lore of Marv's battle history. Some of the most viewed and some of the most popular battles to ever happen are the 2-on-2s that happened on URL. And in my opinion, I don't think any of those battles would have happened if it wasn't for Marv and Quest. I think Marv was pretty pivotal in bridging the gaps between the more freestyle-heavy sort of joking-type bars and battles and the more written-type battles at the time, Fight Club, Too Raw for the Streets, Smack. And I think it's because of the substance of what he was bringing to the table. He was doing something very uncommon at the time. He had bars, but he was also cracking jokes. He had great timing, and he would make the audience laugh and kind of clown on his opponent. This was a time when you did have guys cracking jokes, but they usually wouldn't have bars as well. A lot of guys' styles were built on more aggressive delivery and sort of a braggadocious machismo. So for him to be able to do both at this time and do both very well at that time was pretty important to the culture, in my opinion.
Nigga, in the hype. Today's the first day of the rest of your life. As a regular Joe with a super regular flow. So I'll take a Big Mac, no pickles, and a regular Coke.
Because nowadays it's almost a prerequisite. You can't be one-dimensional. You have to be multifaceted in your approach. And Marv and Quest clown their opponents en route to the semifinals. And out of any 2-on-2 team, in my opinion, they probably had the closest battle with the Saurus and Ilmac. And Marv even acknowledges that he was one of the first to have humor in bars in his battle with Pat Stay.
And me sending Pat like this is not a diss. So let me break down why I'm one of the main reasons that Pat Stay exists. You see, my career is much more than a win or a loss. Because when people say my name, they mention me as a boss. And it's not because of the striking resemblance to Ricky Ross. It's because I helped build the bridge you using to get across. Wow. I was one of the first that made it cool to have humor and bars. So any success you ever see, just know you doing Marv. Because of proof, I'm a monster. With truth and some honor. You part-time. I'll run the dark side, Luke. I'm your father.
Now you fast forward through Grind Time and the YouTube era, and he's relevant the entire time, battling top-tier guys. Averb, Pat Stay, Charlie Clips, Math Hoffa, T-Rex, QP, Lunar Sea, Disaster, Danny Myers, Real Deal, Thesaurus, Shotgun Shug, and New Jersey Twerk. The list literally it just goes on and on. It's a who's who. He's taken on virtually every big name he can. He still is active today. He has over 100 battles cataloged. And he might not win every battle, but it's hard to point to one where he got bodied. I honestly don't even remember a battle where he got bodied or even had a terrible performance. He's just so consistent. He's beat a lot of the biggest names he's faced. He just has a level of longevity and consistency that's pretty much virtually unparalleled in the culture. Aside from his battles, I highly recommend you guys check out his music career. He's collabed with the likes of Chino XL, Copyright, Black Milk, Kush, PH, Trick, Freeway, Elzai, Boldy James, and the list goes on. And he produces his own beats, and his production is just really, really solid. So check his music out at Mellow Music Group on YouTube. He's putting out bangers. I'm just saying we don't have too many pioneers in this culture, but Marv Won is definitely one of them. So next time somebody brings out Mount Rushmore, do yourself a favor, put some respect on his name. I'm not saying he has to be on your Mount Rushmore, but if he's not in your conversation, then maybe you should reevaluate, because in my opinion, he's inarguably one of our pioneers. So salute to Marv Won for that. If you're still watching this, shout out to you. I appreciate you. I've just always been a big fan of Marv, and the fact that I don't see him come up in these Mount Rushmore conversations too often has always irked me. So if this gets one of you to reevaluate, then I've done my job. All right. Appreciate you, man. Thank you. Much love to everyone watching. Peace out.